game number 1.
Go, 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 go. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Maynard with the save.
Got you. I got you, boo. Nice. It's going to be game number 1.
I got to refill my water bottle, so I'm going to AFK for a solid 20 seconds. BRB, mate.
All right. I'm counting. Don't think you can squeeze an extra second on me. Dean. All right. Countdown's begun. Bly is, for everyone watching right now, an absolute monster in these cups. He's a big grinder. Nice. He's playing a lot of these semifinals and finals, which he gets to very consistently, by the way. Last week was probably his shortest tournament. I think it was last week or maybe the week before. Was his shortest tournament where he just got eliminated quite early, so he had a decent bedtime. But will Vindicta excuse him from this tournament, or will Bly continue on, as he does tend to get deep in these weeklies? In the top left, it is Vindicta, winner of that last series against Disc. And in the bottom right, this is Bly, Ukrainian Zerg, the wild man. So, once again, Pig has been longer than 20 seconds, so he's lied to us. Pig is now a liar. So let Reddit know. Let's just change the title of the stream. There we go. All right.
Sorry for clearing my... I'm like, good way to clear your mouth into the mic before even putting your headset on, Pig. Sorry about that.
That's my favorite.
You already introed the players, yeah?
I have, yes. We're in.
Beautiful. And a couple of walnuts to give me a tiny bit of energy, which I will mute my mic for very quickly so you don't have to deal with that.
This Pig, while he's munching on D's nuts. Gonna have a look at this TVP with TVZ, which everything seems pretty normal so far. Obviously, Bly is the one that will make the beginning of the game be wild, because he is the guy that will drop a proxy hatchery and his EVT rather, and rally roaches into your natural. We've talked about the Pig Daily multiple times. When Bly comes and plays in these series is because Bly does those old school roach rushes. This time, very, very stock standard. I don't know if... I'm sure Bly and Vindicta have played each other before, because they are both online cup warriors. They've played a lot of online cups.
Absolutely.
Like if you play enough online cups, you're going to hit Bly. But I don't think Bly would know Vindicta as well as, say, some of the Terrans that he's roach all in, like, say, Future, Euthermal, and those guys.
Yeah, I would agree with that for sure. I mean, the Future and Euthermal kind of matchups with Bly we've seen repeatedly. I'm actually excited to see this one. Because people keep hating on me. No, they don't really. There's like 1 or 2 people who joke about it. That we never get to see Bly's macro, and all I do is talk about how good Bly's macro is now. It's like you know, it's I'm in your face and I'm threatening things into sick creep spread macro, and it's just we've seen 1 or 2 weeks where multiple times Bly would play like a ton of Terrans, and they'd like block his attack, and they'd block his attack, and they'd block his attack, and they'd be gaining leads. And at some point, he'd just cover the map in creep, using the momentum that he gets from his opponents kind of overreacting a little bit here and there. And then they'd just, at some point, he'd backstab with enough crazy backstabs to the point where he can clear all the siege tanks out in one fight when they're a little bit undefended. And once that happens, we almost always see Terran players just lose their cool, try to attack on creep without enough anti-banelings, whether all the Widow Mines aren't there or the tanks aren't there. And the number of times we've seen a Terran up 40 supply lose to Bly because 100 Marines run into 50 speedbanes on creep, it's actually insane. Like, he wins games from behind against Terran all the time, because he's like, he just pushes them here, pushes them there, triggers them. And I think they've got that sense in their head of, I'm playing a Zerg, Ultras are going to hit the field, they're going to hit a 5th, they're going to have Broodlords, I got to get up. And like, Bly's often never even near that point when Terrans kind of overcommit to these attacks. He's often way far away from it, but they kind of just feel like they have to attack at these points. So it's actually kind of cool how he's managed to do that. Speaking of very cool move, Vindicta, he was waiting for this. It's a trap.
Yeah, he was indeed. Also, Pig, do you like Blue Flame Hellions?
I love Blue Flame Hellions, man, Nod.
Because I do believe Vindicta is planning to get us some of those extra hot Hellions on the field with that hidden factory in the bottom left of the map. Similar build that we saw a couple times at IM Katowice, but this time it has a starport.
Yeah, no, it always has a starport. It does, actually. So it's factory then starport normally. Did he go starport before factory this time? I'm not
Maybe.
sure.
I actually wasn't paying super close. I was listening to your analysis.
No worries. I wasn't paying attention either. I didn't even notice the factory because I'm a noob. But yeah, the Viking is very important for denying scouting, which Vindicta's forgetting to use it for right now. There we go. The Viking does start going to clear up that Overlord. Very important to clear up some vision here. And, of course, a big Hellbat attack, which is really bad against Roaches. If there was an all-in, which I would never do against Bly, this is it, to be honest. I don't think this build makes any sense against Bly. This is one of his favorite openings, is the Ravager Ling on this map. So I got to be critical of Vindicta's build choice here. Against another player, good choice. Against Bly, though, nah. You got to do your homework on this guy.
Yeah, he likes these Roaches. He's a Roach boy. As most aggressive Zergs are. And in they come. Vindicta is going to get that full wall off. And he's going for double bunker here, and he's started making Marauders and Concussor Shell, which is basically scrambling any kind of defense.
Yeah, I think his proxy factory should just build Hellions for a future run by. At the moment, we've got a lot of Hellions, which are good versus the Lings. It's the Roaches and the Ravagers that are the problem. The landed Viking adds some damage. Now he's got to load up those bunkers. Remember, it's one Marine, one Marauder, one Reaper. Right now, second Marauder's going to be popping soon. As that gets up, that's much more damage for Vindicta. Now, Vindicta comes really far out there to snipe that Ravager egg. He wants to reduce that Roach Ravager count because he knows that's the kind of long-term problem. But losing the Viking and the Reaper, that's big.
Certainly is. So he's not able to deny that vision. Bly keeps filing down these supply depots. Vindicta supply blocked on 62 at the moment. Can't produce anything else apart from this last Marauder popping out of this barracks for a little bit. I was going to say, I would love for Vindicta to grab 4 Hellions, load them into a medevac, and try and do something on the other side of the map while getting those bunkers loaded up.
Check out the Drilly Boy in the main, by the way, this hero.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, why am I here? I think he got sent there from the proxy just to kind of scout or something. Blue Flame Hellion drop coming in. Could definitely do big damage. It's non-stop Roach. So Bly, I think after killing the depots and kind of seeing that his opponent's on a lot of Hellions, it looks like he's just going round 2 of all in, right? Like, just mass Roaches, 43 drones, more Lings. It's like, hey, you thought the all in was done? You're going double upgrades in a 3rd CC? Nuh-uh.
There's the drop of the main with the Blue Flame Hellions. They give a bit of drone damage here. The Lings just hatch in time, but there are Hellbats with medevac support, so these Lings are...
Ooh, hot pickup, hot pickup! Hot pickup on the red medevac would be nice, but you know what? The medevacs change targets anyway. And, or the queens to the medevac, I should say. Hellions on the 3rd, getting more drones. Problem is, only 2 bunkers. Tank's not out yet. I think Bly's going to bop him.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it. That is a lot of Zerg. And Vindicta does not have things that make Roach and Ravager go away. He's got 1 tank out, sieging that up. That tank
is on the ramp
line, but is there enough to actually hold this natural? And even losing this natural here is kind of a recipe for disaster. And there it is. Bly wins game number 1.
You know, he had what he needed to defend there, did Vindicta. But once again, he needed to verify what the hell was happening. So I think with that Hellion drop, he actually flew over the 3rd, and he could have seen that there was no drones, but he actually went around because the Queen was on the edge. So it wasn't until the Hellion run by ran into the 3rd that he realized what was happening. And that was right as the Roach Ravager was on his doorstep. No time to respond. So it's actually kind of this interesting thing where I've been thinking about this a bit in my own Terran play, right? You defend an attack, right? And you want to go do counter pressure. But I think one of the most important things is actually scouting the follow-up with that counter pressure. And I think sometimes it's worth doing a lower percentage chance of doing damage, like just unload those Hellions on the outside and just run into the 3rd base, but get the scouting. Because the one thing that tells you the most important information in this matchup is, are there drones on that 3rd? And if there isn't, you got to build more defense. You got to get your wall back up, get a tank on the high ground ASAP, scramble defense, pull that 2nd run by home, having a few more Blue Flame Hellbats, just roast the Zerglings when they run in. That might have kept those bunkers alive for a bit longer, right? So I think there's this weird thing where against certain players, you need to actually prioritize information gathering with your counter pressure over doing the damage. So unfortunately, Vindicta doesn't get the information there. Doing good counter harassment, surprised by round 2 of the Ravager Ling, and Bly once again finds himself up 1 game in a series.
Thank you very much, by the way, to Smallpox with 100 bits. Appreciate it, mate. Thank you for the support. In the far right spawn of Purity and Industry, first time we've seen the map today on the broadcast, it is Vindicta from Alpha X.
I like the Alpha X logo. Nice dragon.
Yeah.
And up here in the top left, representing Bly on fire. The Ukrainian flag there. It's Bly.
Representing himself. Nice.
Yeah. By the way, Super Uman, cool map maker, bit of a backseat gamer. If you look at the top of the Terran base, he's telling you where to build missile turrets.
Oh my god.
And just yes, we know there's a gap in the inhibitor zone here where drops and flying units can come in. But how dare you backseat game? Because of that, I refuse to ever build missile turret spores or cannons in these two locations.
Yeah.
I don't like being told how to play, mate. What are these other graphics on the other bit of the base, by the way? What is that meant to be? Is that a Wraith?
I think that's a Wraith.
He wants us to build Wraiths there?
Wrong game, mate.
Yeah.
I'm starting to get embarrassed for him, really.
Jesus, Superhuman.
It's backseat gaming without any game knowledge whatsoever. It's kind of embarrassing, really.
Wait. He doesn't even have the missile turret markers on the other base. Does he think the bottom player is stupid? The top one's like Protoss tile set, right?
It's the Purifier tile set, yeah.
Shouldn't he have like cannons?
As a Zerg is okay, but I don't know if you've played Terran on this map yet, Pig. But that main base is bright. It's like the burns you with the power of 1,000 suns when you spawn in the 12 o'clock location on this base.
Yeah, no, I do remember the first time, and I was like, I've played this map before. I don't remember it being so bright because I'd only spawned in the bottom, and I was really confused at first. I was like, what the hell is...
on the industry side, not the purity side, that's why.
Yeah. Time to purify this Terran industry.
I really do like map tile sets that have like there was one before as well, where like one side was, I think, snowy or whatever, and the other side was like really bright and green.
Oh yeah, vaguely remember this.
I'm trying to remember, but
we've had a few.
I really do like these maps where the tile set sort of isn't symmetrical.
Yeah.
No,
it's a cool change up. It's actually really nice. I think it was this map where a stalker disappeared into one of these ramps for Roddy. It was over here. Yeah, there's like a little area on this ramp just to the left of this Reaper on this map, right around where he just moved to, just where those, just there.
Yeah.
That is where units can kind of disappear into the ground, and I believe you can like build buildings on a different layer of the map there or something. It's like a weird little bug.
On Reddit, where like a shield battery stacked on top of another shield battery or something like that.
Yeah, it's kind of a funny little spot. Not a big impactful one. I know there's a 3v3 map where one of the ramps is literally impassable terrain. You just can't move on it. Everyone was like reeing really hard in team games about that. They're like, this is 3v3s. Is this even going to get fixed before the next season? Like, does anyone even know?
Once again, I'm seeing Goliaths near those lings as like a image from Super Roman going, hey, you should put Goliaths here to stop run-bys. Like, okay, Super Roman. Keep telling me how to play the game, mate.
Oh, they are Goliaths, aren't they?
Yeah, those are Goliaths.
Oh my god. What a tryhard.
Get out of the scene. What are you right now?
Are these
Brood War elitists trying to tell me what to make in StarCraft 2? Are you trying to tell me that StarCraft 2 is not as good as Brood War? Get out of here, man.
What about the where the Zerglings are going now? Are these auto turrets down here to the left of them? Like down to the left of them. They might get chased there in a second. Is that an auto turret? Like what is that? What am I looking at?
Oh geez, yeah. What is that? Is that Ed? Is that Ed?
Is it Hellbat? Maybe it's a Hellbat.
Actually, you know what? I think nah, it's like its nose is too long to be a Hellbat.
Maybe it's like a Merc or something. Like a
Herc.
A Herc, sorry. Yeah, Herc or something like that. Anyways.
I don't know, man.
Sorry, guys. I know normally you guys like our teamwork because we talk about the game a bit more. My bad. I'm gonna talk about the game. This is a 2-base Spire, and you know what? These Hellions are like, whoa, where's your third at? Vindicta's gonna be, is he gonna dive? Sometimes you want to dive against this, but that's actually just a mispathing on those Hellions.
Yeah, it is such a weird ramp here, and the Hellions going to dive into that natural. They see the two gases being saturated in the natural, which is, especially considering there's no Evo chamber thing and no Roach Warren or something like that, that is a tell, I feel, that there is like something coming out of the main, and Spire is the likely choice. He switches over a reactor on the starport, and he's getting a reactor on that factory as well, going to try and get out as many Marines as possible, and he has an engineering bay a third of the way done.
The Woloff's not ready, and the Hellions just left. They need to... Oh, that actually is walled off? Okay, I thought that wasn't on that corner. Yeah, okay.
I was with you on that. I didn't think that was wall off, but okay. Vindicta is fine. Ling's not going to get in there.
Third CC hasn't started is the big problem I see here. So Vindicta's going to have good stim, good turret timing, good Marine count in the near future anyway when these barracks get pumping. The mutas, they don't get shut down by any of those things. None of those is like multiple Vikings in this guide. I'd love to see that single Viking fly home, by the way. Like, if you have like 4 Vikings or like a Thor and a Medevac, these are things which just zone out the mutas really hard. But unupgraded Marines or Marines with just stim, a couple turrets, I mean, they stop brutal damage, but they don't stop the damage completely. And with no third command center, it's going to be like, okay, you kind of have onus on you as a Terran player to then do something with Biomine on 2 base. Like, yeah, you can get a third up behind it, but you're going to have a big army, and you're going to need to create some sort of advantage with that army, or at least threaten enough to slow down that third base from droning up.
Oh, that's right. Inhibitor zones are red now. Forgot about that.
Yes, because red is bad, Maynard.
Red is bad, that's right. And green is good. So the green's for the speedy zones.
Ooh, cheeky mines.
Yeah, some cheeky mines here hidden away in the Hynat refinery for Vindicta with stim. The mutas do get shoot away. He also like really took this seriously. He made 4 turrets, not just the one. He's got 2 turrets between the main and the natural. He just starts the third now, which is covered by a turret, but low enough in hit points for the mutas to go in for the snipe.
Ooh. Lings doing a good job on these Hellions, but nice micro from Vindicta is going to roast those up. Mutas have to go home. Command center is still being built. Those Hellions, though, just going to back off. I'd love to see them run to the bottom corner. You know what we haven't seen enough of yet, by the way? There's a gold base in the bottom left of this map. I want to see more people cheeky taking that, man.
Right.
I want to see some cheeky golds.
I'll get Florencio on ladder again. I'll be checking that bottom left
for
sure.
Man.
This would be a nightmare map to play Florencio on.
It would be rough, man.
I would not want it.
He'd take the corner expansion, the island as well.
Take the island, yeah, for sure.
Right now, this is that biomine push I was talking about where he's got to create threat. And this is a well-timed push, but the minerals are saturated on that third for Bly. He's already got 12 mutas. He's got no banelings right now, but you can't really dive in as Vindicta. You don't know what you're going into. I mean, oh, this is... Whoa!
Bly, watch out!
Bly went way too deep there. Bly, oh my god, his mutas just got savagely wrecked. Quick pickup on the high ground. I don't know why Bly would possibly choose to fight there. That was a terrible engagement. I think it might be okay if he can just take out the rest of these medevacs. But look at that stim, man. He just clicks on the mutas. The muta count is getting wrecked.
Yeah, and the Marines are cutting through those the Lings as well. This is an absolutely amazing trade for Vindicta, potentially game-winning even. Like a really, really good reset on the army of the Zerg. And now the Terran is all set to take that third base. He's got a good work account, decent upgrades back at home, still pumping out bio. Like, he's not going to kill Bly right here, but that was a critical move from Vindicta and a massive blow to Bly.
I mean, I think Bly thought he was just going to drag the Widowmine shots into the bio, but his Lings weren't actually like together enough to do that. And he does lose a lot of mutas. Now, he saw the third CC timing, which is why I'm very critical of that maneuver. It's not like he didn't have the information to know how scary Vindicta's army was. And Vindicta's continuing to push this creep back. Now, there is still a tip down to the south of the creep. I think he's overextending at this point, but, I mean, Vindicta, oh my god. Oh, Widowmines.
Oh, these Widowmines once again. Oh, look at those Banelings. But the Banelings actually get rid of most of the Widowmines, but they die as well to the last one there. So it is still just Ling and Muta against a bunch of bio units that aren't quite on 1/1 upgrades, but they still have that +1 attack, so they come through them really, really quickly.
So ballsy with how he's pushing. I think it's actually a bit of an overextension at this point, though.
I think so.
They're too bruised. Yeah, they're too bruised. The upgrades are about to turn around as well. With 1/1 kicking in, I mean, he's had a +1 upgrade this whole time. Now it's going to be an upgrade equality, sorry. Even upgrades to both sides. And still, this is such a tiny force. Vindicta, I think, may need to just go home and wait for a slightly larger army. A tank's coming. He's building libs and another tank right now. So he's trying to get a lot of anti-Baneling to take advantage of this choke point. If he holds this area, then he will crush it. So he's trying to just take as many good engagements as he can. He wants to wear down this army. He's bringing everything he can across that map, but I mean, it's so dangerous. He's got so few units, both sides working with such small numbers right now.
Yeah, I mean, the Marines are looking to try and get wrapped around here by Bly. He really wants to wrap around the backside of the Lings so that he can just let the Banelings ram home into the ball of Marines. Oh, that creep spread is actually being quite annoying from Bly. He just scans and takes it down in the middle there.
Come on, this is a nice push. These tanks getting some brutal positioning, and that tank actually is a tank on the ramp. It is tanking a lot.
Oh, Zerg is actually doing a great job sort of isolating those Terran pockets of units there, getting rid of the medevacs, getting rid of the tanks, and getting the bio away from the tanks, letting the Lings do the work. And now Vindicta's on the defensive, pulling everything back at home. It's actually breaking off the Liberators, which I think is a good move.
Oh, Vindicta. He's scanning the fourth. He doesn't realize that third isn't even saturated and there hasn't been this whole time. He's up like 15 workers. You know, Bly's economy is bad right now, but that's exactly why you need to pull back at the right time against Bly. He will overcommit to units and he will get ahead of fantastic engagements rather than the typical macro that you expect from a Zerg player. Ooh!
Yeah. Losing a couple of mutts there for a few SCVs and a couple of Marines. Not worth for Bly.
Double lib going in the left-hand side. I think this is over-eager for Vindicta. I think he's just got to stabilize and hang on right now. Get those Marines to the front. I mean, this is going to buy a bit of time and momentum, and he's still got the bigger economy and the faster force. So don't get me wrong. We've got Vindicta that is ahead, but, I mean, if Bly is able to get far enough in this game, we've seen him get himself back from way worse situations. And, I mean, this double lib, it buys a little bit of time with the muta harass, kills a single drone. Not a great trade.
Nope. That's 300 resources per Liberator going down right there. So now Vindicta has got towards 2-2 upgrades. He's behind in upgrades versus the Zerg at the moment, which feels weird for a Terran, but that is the case right now. But he's doing the right thing, I feel, because Bly is very lair heavy. There's you know, even though 11 minutes in the game, there's no infestation pit, no hive. So it's going to be all about getting 2-2 upgrades and having a big tier 2 army for the Zerg. And Terran, I mean, there's nothing really stopping him from going to tier 3 once that fourth is plopped. He's going to have a pretty good army against that tier 2 Zerg.
This Ling Bane run by achieves nothing there. Trades for a few Marines. A couple depots will burn down, but even that's totally fine for Vindicta. The muta count, though, 17 mutas, only 2 turrets in the main right now. And they are going to dive on in, start picking off some units, some buildings here. It's a gigantic army going out on the map, 2-2 and +1 vehicle plating finishing. The muta's going to force a few Marines to kind of re-rally to this area of the map. They overextend. Vindicta getting a bunch of units picked off. Sloppy.
Yeah, losing those medevacs as well really does suck. It's a lot more mutas than he expects. I mean, when they're stacked up like that, it's kind of hard to judge how many there are. They're a little bit more vulnerable to Widow Mines, but there aren't any anymore. Vindicta had those Widow Mines behind the refinery, but they were being used aggressively.
Oh,
Speaking
no!
of aggressive, Vindicta is going across the map here with this attack because these mutas have put him into an awkward spot here. He has to do damage.
Oh, I mean, he's still so far ahead in the long game, but this is what I'm talking about. Bly's so good at counter-attacking, and the players just don't quite respect it enough. And if they feel forced to all in, things can turn upside down. The Thor finally gets here. That's what needed to be boosted back to the main immediately. That was the big misstep, really, from Vindicta. Vindicta's coming across and he's realizing, wait, there's not even that much creep. There's not that many drones for me to push into. And he ends up just taking a few punches there, and all he does is choose off the tip of the creep. It's not a good bit of counter damage. He really hasn't slowed down Bly's next step.
And that stack is more tier 2. Line there. Oh, that's a lot of lines from Vindicta.
Oh, no!
Oh, my God!
No!
The line drag is real!
Oh, you've got to focus with the Marines. You can't just run. Otherwise, your Widow Mines will shoot the wrong Zerglings. And oh my God, we saw a disastrous example of that. I just almost fell out of my chair. I can't believe how bad that was for Vindicta. I'm telling you, Bly is a friggin' wizard, man. People are used to different sorts of games. Now, these Widow Mines are going to fire again on the backside, which is kind of nice. A big shot in the center of those mines, and another one going to land in the middle as well. A couple Zerglings go down. Oh, I mean, this is a game where, like we said, Vindicta's been up in economy. At this point, he's still even in economy with the Zerg when you take into account mules, but suddenly 27 mutas, soon to be 1-1 upgrades. They're going to start bouncing around the main. And I mean, at this point, you've got to realize your opponent's backstabbing. You don't need to push against Bly. You just need to defend and stabilize. But Vindicta is on that kind of autopilot right now. It's like he's going to try to push with everything he's got. The mutas are going to massacre his main base.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot in the main at all, or even really the natural for Vindicta for these mutas to be slowed down by at all. So once again, he's in that position where he's going for a counterattack in the far left. Bly's Baneling count isn't amazing at the moment, but 16 are about to morph. And when they are done, if Vindicta's on creep, he needs to have splits like a god or Widow Mines ready to fire.
Yeah, I mean, his turrets are doing okay, but the Marines dying as they go down. Banes are going to engage! Good spreads, but I think that's enough of a hold there for Bly. And once again, digging himself out of the grave. Just heavier commitment to backstabs than any other player in the game. And gets himself the 2-0 victory there. I really have got to bring it back to that 17 meter backstab in the main. I think this was a point where Vindicta was looking so good. Like, when you're going up to 4 base against a Zerg who hasn't even saturated his third fully, like, it's actually insane how good the Zerg needs to trade to win this game. But there was no reinforce of Marines left in the main. So just 8 Marines left in the main backing up the turrets, or a Thor, or quickly responding by picking up this Thor in the natural and sending it to the main. Either one of those, I think, would have allowed him to deal with those mutas slow down, build up that army, get to the point where you add more Marauders in and get to that next stage. But, I mean, even though that mind drag was brutal, all the momentum had swung out of Vindicta's favor. He was the one who was getting bullied. He wasn't the one doing the bullying by the time that happened. But I am going to rewind and replay it because, I mean...
No, you're not. You're going to get onto EU.
Oh my god, we've already got another game?
Bly versus U Thermal.
Let's do it.
I mean, they do have to do the vetoes, so maybe you have a little bit of time.
All right, dude. I'm watching it like 3 times in a row then real quick here. This is...
Okay.
So the important thing was that Vindicta's mines were too clumped. So when Bly started running forward, Vindicta was like... Oh, like he was actually looking at home at first. And then he looked back too late. And he started trying to run back and kind of burrow the mines 1 or 2 at a time. What he needed to do was spread the mines just to get any sort of burrow on them. And he needed to turn and start gunning down these Zerglings. The problem is if you don't start shooting with your Marines, and it's because he was too busy kind of trying to... What the hell did I just press? He was too busy trying to, of course, burrow the mines. And if you're not shooting those Zerglings at all, the very front Zerglings are not getting gunned down. You rely on the Marines gunning down the front Zerglings so the Widow Mines change targets a few times before firing, which means they end up hitting the big clump of Banes behind almost naturally. But if you're not shooting and you're just running, those first Zerglings track, the Widow Mines come with them, and it always finds the juicy center of your units. It's really brutal, man. Obviously, that was about the worst possible case.